I sat there while you pled your case for confidence and secrets to be erased. I was riddled by your words. I bet that you could hardly wait.
Yo, you're listening to Daddy Diatribes, and I am Jeremiah. And in case you're wondering, it's 20 minutes to the top of the hour on a Friday evening sometime in early February. And I hope that's helpful to you wherever you are and whenever you're listening. Thank you for joining me today. Okay, today is kind of like a follow-up or a sequel or a part two. I better stop thinking of synonyms for this particular phrase to the last episode, and which was Don't Cry. What I want to talk about is some other alternatives to saying don't cry to your baby, as well as talk about empathy in general, and maybe get into the masculine aspect of not crying, but that might be a whole nother episode that we need to deal with today, depending on how long this stuff takes. So, I suggested last time that telling your baby not to cry is telling them not to use their number one means of communicating with you. I keep shaking this table while I talk with my hands. Hope it's not messing up the audio too bad. It's similar to telling someone who's telling you how they feel to shut up because you're saying, don't talk to me. I don't want to hear what you're saying. It's making me uncomfortable, and for whatever reason, I don't like it. I know that people don't intend to say it that way, but that is a fairly close parallel. Saying shut up to a baby, or saying don't cry to a baby, is a fairly close parallel to saying shut up to someone else. Okay, so what are some alternatives? What do we do? I know you want to say something because you don't want your baby to cry, and you do want to talk to them while they are crying because they are telling you something very specific. There's the obvious shit. If your baby's crying, try to meet their needs. But we can't always do that, and we definitely can't always do that immediately. So, for sure, you know this, for sure go try to meet your kids' needs and figure out why it is that they're crying, what they are communicating to you specifically, and try to do it as quickly as possible as time allows. Although, I understand that, there's things like warming up breast milk. That is a difficult process when you're alone with a 2-week-old child because it just takes more time than the kid wants and more time than you want because the kid doesn't know what's going on. It's a lot easier at 3 months, though. Let me tell you, that's where my kid's at now. What do you say to them? Getting back on track as we're running out of time. I try to empathize with them. What do you say? Like, sometimes there is absolutely nothing you can do. There is no need you can meet to fill the desire that your kid's feeling. Sometimes they're just feeling shit that they don't know what to do with. And they're telling you that they are uncomfortable for whatever reason. My son the other night, he was having a plugged up nose, and it was not something that saline was able to deal with, nor the nose sucker was able to deal with. And he was crying about it, and he was so tired because he had been up for so long. I don't know how long he's up relative to other babies, but I've never heard of a kid being awake as much as he is. I'm sure a lot of you parents out there have experienced a very wakeful child, and you're going to tell me your horror stories of your lack of sleep, and I understand it. I'm sorry, and thank you for enduring that and loving your kid. But he was so tired because he had been up for so long that day. And he's trying to sleep and trying to fall asleep in all these different positions. But every time he falls asleep, he starts breathing through his nose instead of his mouth. And then he can't breathe. And then he wakes up and then he cries. And it's this process. And he gets close to sleep and then he breathes through his nose. He can't breathe through his nose and he cries. So I can't solve his problem. My wife can't solve his problem. All we can do is just be there with him in this problem until it gets a little resolved on his own. I mean, we could have gone to the ER, I suppose, but going to the ER for boogers feels like a little much to me. Definitely more money than I want to spend. So I just held him and bounced him and talked to him and told him how he felt. I said, "Oh, you must be so tired. This must be so hard for you. I understand you can't really breathe and you don't know what's going on, and you're telling us how painful this is, and you're telling us how difficult it is, and I know that this is something you don't know what to do with, and you're trying to figure out how to solve the problem by telling us and having us, your caretakers, solve the problem, but we can't, and we're so sorry." And there are a lot of things in life, not just for babies, where there is no immediate solution. People die, relationships break apart, legs get broken, more minor one, where all it is you can't do anything to solve the problem in the moment. All you can do is be there with the person who is in pain, who is hurting at that time, and tell them that you have some semblance of understanding how they feel. And sometimes with your baby, that is the only thing you can do as well. I would not, please don't, I would not recommend discouraging them from telling you how they feel. Rather, encourage them to keep telling you how they feel and what's going on. You want the lines of communication to always be open with your child and help them to understand that you know how they feel. And for some reason, with adults and with babies, it is effective at helping people feel better when the only thing you do is let them know in a way that they understand that you understand what they're going through, or some of what they're going through in the moment, and you're with them in that as much as you can be. That is how I suggest parents should interact with their children. If there's one thing that's really important for your child's future development, or my child's future development, it's empathy. Empathy, compassion, mirror neurons, understanding the other are the key components in really being a decent human being amongst other human beings. What you want to teach them is not to shut off their communication, but be an example for them of how to hear what others are saying and then sit with them in the moments, even the difficult ones. All right, thanks for joining me. If you want to contact me for thoughts, questions, or topic suggestions, daddydiatribe@gmail.com. Thanks. Peace.
You ever catch yourself just thinking of a way to get out? It's like a reflex emotion.